On shitty people. There are certain words that work like shortcuts. They are not elegant. They are not metaphysically precise. But they cut through, because they cut close. Shitty people. There you have it. The philosophers might speak of the malicious, the duplicitous, the cowardly, the false friend, the unvirtuous. Psychologists will parse categories: narcissistic, sociopathic, emotionally unavailable. Theology will speak of the sinner, the unrepentant, the fallen. But the human heart, in its street-level honesty, just says, shitty. This word has its weight. Shitty people are not merely people who fail or people who stumble. They are not simply weak, nor simply inconsistent. They are people whose mode of being is in some way rotted through, compromised, corroded at the core. They sour everything around them. They betray expectation. They take the light out of a room. They pollute a friendship. They ruin what could have been simple, even beautiful, by dragging it through the mud of their own laziness, cowardice, or malice. Shitty people are, in a sense, not an abstract category. They are a felt presence. You know them. You know them not by definition, but by their trace, like smoke that clings to your clothes after leaving a fire. You know them because your trust is met with their indifference. You know them because their promises dissolve. You know them because they are the first to arrive when things are easy, and the first to vanish when things are hard. The real sting of shitty people lies not only in their acts, but in the gap between what could have been and what they deliver. Their awfulness is a failure of the human possibility, a failure to be what even an average person could be: reliable, loyal, steady, caring. They are the negative of what is simplest, not the unattainable perfection. Shitty people cannot even manage the basics. 1. The grammar of shit. There is something almost poetic about the choice of word. To call someone shitty places them in the same register as waste, excrement, the unwanted byproduct of digestion. Shit is what the body cannot use. It is what is expelled, cast off, gotten rid of. It is what smells foul, what contaminates, what one does not want to touch, though one must live with its presence as a fact of being alive. To call someone shitty is to say they are of that order, a residue, not the nourishing part of humanity, but the refuse. They are what makes life stink. They are what clings to the shoe. They are what one flushes, only to find that they clog the pipe. Yet the metaphor is exact because shitty people circulate. You can't get rid of them entirely. They return. They seep back in. Like sewage leaking up through a cracked drain, they reappear in the street, in the workplace, in the hospital, in the so-called circle of friends. 2. The betrayal of the everyday. What marks shitty people is often not dramatic evil, but the petty betrayals of daily life. You are sick, in pain, waiting for help. They say they will come. They say they will bring what you need. They say first thing in the morning, I'll be there. And then they vanish. They sleep in. They turn off the ringer. They offer an apology that does not repair but trivializes, oh, sorry. This sorry is its own form of shittiness. It is not repentance. It is not recognition. It is a deflection, a dodge, a shallow cover. It is meant to erase, not to acknowledge. It is the linguistic equivalent of brushing crumbs off a table while leaving the whole meal rotting underneath. Shitty people are allergic to responsibility. They can speak the words of care, but they cannot embody the actions. They will say, let me know if you need anything, but the moment you ask, they vanish, or they make excuses, or they deliver half of what was needed too late to matter. The everyday betrayal is worse than the spectacular one. For the spectacular betrayal, treason, theft, violence, these you expect from villains. But from friends, from companions, from those who smile and assure you of loyalty, you expect decency. When they fail at the ordinary, the floor of life cracks beneath you. 3. The ontology of the shitty. Philosophy asks, what is a shitty person? What is the essence of their shittiness? I would say, a shitty person is one whose relation to others is defined by self-centeredness without self-awareness. They are not simply selfish in the deliberate, calculated sense. They are selfish in the unthinking, unreflective way. They do not even recognize others as real. They see others as extensions, props, tools, background figures. The shitty person is not a full participant in the human covenant. They are a parasite on it. They enjoy the benefits of community without contributing to it. They use trust without honoring it. They consume loyalty without returning it. There is a deep irony here. The shitty person believes themselves to be neutral. They think their negligence is nothing. They say, I just forgot. I didn't mean it. It's not a big deal. But in fact, their absence, their forgetting, Their casual disregard is itself an act of harm. Neglect is not neutral. It is violence by omission. 4. The false friend. The false friend is the archetype of the shitty person. They laugh with you when times are easy. They vanish when times are hard. They resurface when they need something. They speak of friendship, but what they mean is convenience. The false friend corrodes trust in friendship itself. After encountering enough of them, one begins to doubt whether friendship is real at all. One begins to expect betrayal. One stops opening up. One learns to keep one's needs hidden, for fear of being let down yet again. This is the deepest wound inflicted by shitty people. They teach us not only to doubt them, but to doubt everyone. They plant suspicion in the soil of the heart. 5. Shitty systems, shitty institutions. It is not only individuals. Shittiness scales up. Institutions can be shitty too. A doctor promises a medication change. Hours later, nothing has been done. A nurse shrugs, they must have been busy. Bureaucracy shuffles papers while a patient waits in pain. The hospital, the place of care, becomes the place of neglect. Shitty institutions, like shitty people, betray by omission. They are designed to look like care, but in practice, they are indifferent. The system takes your suffering and converts it into paperwork. The institution says we're doing our best, but its best is structured around convenience for itself, not for the ones it claims to serve. And so the patient waits, the friend waits, the one in need waits, and the shitty world shrugs. 6. Why do they exist? Why are there so many shitty people? Why is the world so thick with them? Some are simply lazy, some are cowardly, some are numb, some are broken by their own wounds and cannot see beyond themselves. But there is also this. Modern life breeds shittiness. The culture rewards convenience over commitment. It teaches people to treat words as disposable, promises as flexible, relationships as optional. It trains people to say sorry as a ritual without change. It teaches them to think of everything, including human beings, as interchangeable. In such a world, the shitty person is not the exception. They are the median. They are what happens when ordinary weakness is left unchecked, unchallenged, untransformed. 7. Living among them. How do you live among shitty people? You cannot eliminate them. They are part of the ecology. You cannot always avoid them, for they show up in family, in friends, in colleagues, in caregivers. One option is bitterness. Close the heart, trust no one, expect nothing. But this shrivels the soul. To live as if everyone is shitty is to let the shitty people win. Another option is selective trust. Give only to those who prove themselves. Test by action, not words. Let time separate the reliable from the unreliable. Do not waste love on those who only consume it. A third option, the hardest, is forgiveness without foolishness. To forgive is to recognize that shittiness is not only out there but also in here. I too have been shitty. I too have failed. I too have forgotten, neglected, disappointed. If I condemn too harshly, I risk blindness to my own resemblance. And yet, to forgive is not to excuse. Forgiveness does not mean letting them back in. It means refusing to carry the poison of resentment longer than necessary. But wisdom means building walls where walls are needed. 8. The mirror of shittiness. The shitty person is, in the end, a mirror. Their failure reflects back the question, what kind of person will I be? When my turn comes, when someone depends on me, when someone waits for me, when my promise is the rope they cling to, will I show up or will I be shitty too? This is the sobering truth. The line between shitty and not shitty runs through each of us. It is not a caste. It is a choice. It is made anew in each encounter. Shitty people remind us of what happens when the choice is neglected. They are the warning signs on the road of life. Do not be this. 9. The small heroism of decency. Against the gray weight of shitty people, there is a counterforce, the small heroism of decency. The friend who does show up, the nurse who does remember, the stranger who does not look away. These are not saints, they are ordinary. But their ordinariness is radiant. To keep one's word, to answer the call, to do what you said you would do, to say sorry and mean it. These are not glamorous, but they are the glue of the human fabric. The shitty person rips holes in the fabric, the decent person patches them. 10. Final word. Shitty people exist. They will always exist. But they are not the whole story. The task is twofold, to name them honestly without euphemism, and to resist becoming them ourselves, to recognize their stench without letting it permeate our own soul. The The temptation is to let their failure justify our own, to say everyone is shitty, so why bother? That is the great danger. That is how shittiness spreads. But the answer is otherwise. The answer is, do not be shitty. Be decent, be reliable, be the one who shows up, be the one who does what you said you would do, be the one who repairs rather than corrodes, for in a world thick with shitty people, the smallest act of decency becomes luminous, almost holy. It shines, it matters.